Let's begin our study of the Book of Ezekiel by looking at its historical setting. The author is Ezekiel the priest, son of Buzi. He heard the calling of God in the 5th year of Jehoiakim's exile. Ezekiel used the year of King Jehoiakim's captivity as the base year or reference year to date all his prophecies. Apparently, this was also the 30th year. What does the 30th year refer to? Many Bible commentators believe that this refers to Ezekiel's 30th year, when he was 30 years old. This means that Ezekiel was taken into captivity when he was 25 and began his ministry 5 years later at the age of 30. Let's take a look at the last 5 kings of the southern kingdom of Judah, to better appreciate the historical setting of the Book of Ezekiel. In 609 BC, Pharaoh Necho of Egypt planned to join with Assyria to fight the Babylonians. King Josiah of Judah tried to stop Egypt's advance, but was killed. 2 Kings, chapter 23, verse 29. Jehoahaz then succeeded his father, Josiah, on the throne. Assyria and Egypt lost their battle with Babylon. On the way home, Pharaoh Necho replaced Jehoahaz with Jehoiakim, another son of Josiah. Jehoiakim became a vassal king to Egypt. 2 Kings, chapter 23, verses 34 to 35. In 605 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon defeated the Egyptians at Carchemish. Jehoiakim in the 4th year of his reign then switched allegiance and submitted to Babylon. Jeremiah, chapter 46, verse 2. This was when the first deportation to Babylon took place. In 601 BC, Nebuchadnezzar advanced into the Sinai Peninsula to invade Egypt, but was repelled by Necho. It is probably at this time that Jehoiakim rebelled against Babylonian rule. 2 Kings, chapter 24, verse 1. In December 598 BC, Babylon attacked Jerusalem, leading to Jehoiakim's death and the surrender of the city by his successor and son, Jehoiakim. In March 597 BC, Nebuchadnezzar replaced Jehoiakim, who reigned only for 3 months, deported him to Babylon, and placed Zedekiah, another son of Josiah, as a vassal king of Judah. 2 Kings, chapter 24, verses 12 to 16. Ezekiel was one of those deported during this second deportation, in 597 BC. Let's take a look at the battles that occurred during the reign of the last 5 kings of Judah and the locations of these battles. Pharaoh Necho of Egypt was worried about the expanding empire of Babylon. He set out to help the Assyrians. Necho with his army marched north to Haran through Israel. When Josiah heard the news, he tried to stop Necho's advance, but was killed on the plain of Megiddo. Necho continued northward to join the Assyrians. The combined forces of the Medes and the Babylonians had defeated the Assyrians at Haran, who then retreated to Carchemish. Even with the help of Egypt, Assyria lost the battle with Babylon and disappeared as a regional power. Egypt withdrew to a military outpost at Carchemish by the river Euphrates as the dividing line between Egypt and Babylon. On the way home, Pharaoh Necho replaced Josiah's son, Jehoahaz, with Jehoiakim, who was another son of Josiah, as a vassal king to Egypt. In 605 BC, Nebuchadnezzar defeated the Egyptians at Carchemish. Babylon now reigned supreme in the region. As a matter of expediency, Jehoiakim changed loyalty and submitted to Babylon. In 601 BC, Nebuchadnezzar advanced into the Sinai Peninsula to invade Egypt, but was repelled by Necho at the Battle of Migdol. In December 598 BC, Babylon attacked Jerusalem, and Jehoiakim surrendered in March 597 BC. Jehoiakim was deposed and taken prisoner to Babylon, along with several thousand of the leading citizens. Ezekiel was one of those deported during this second deportation, in 597 BC. He would begin his ministry 5 years later. The final siege and the fall of Jerusalem happened during the ministry of Ezekiel among the exiles in Babylon. As mentioned in the previous slide, there were 3 deportations. The first occurred in 605 BC, when Jehoiakim submitted to Babylon. Daniel and his friends were taken into exile in Babylon. Through their rise in Nebuchadnezzar's court, the Lord prepared a governmental covering for his people who would lose their homes in later years. The second deportation occurred in 597 BC, when Nebuchadnezzar returned to quell a resistance movement and Jehoiakim surrendered. This was when Ezekiel was taken to Babylon and ministered to the exiles in Tel Aviv. The craftsmen and blacksmiths were probably key manpower to build houses for the Jewish people in Babylon. During this time, Jeremiah was with the remnant in Jerusalem. The third deportation occurred in 586 BC, after Jerusalem was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. Note that all 3, Daniel, Ezekiel and Jeremiah, had different ministries in different places, but they all served God faithfully where He had called them. Ezekiel was by the river Chebar, in the land of the Chaldeans, when he received the word of the Lord, chapter 1, verse 3. From archaeological discoveries, we learn that the river Chebar was a man-made irrigation canal from the Euphrates River at Tel Aviv, chapter 3, verse 15. Ezekiel was called to minister to the nation of Israel, especially to the exiles. Chapter 3, verse 11. What were the feelings and thinking of the exiles in Babylon? The exiles from the first and second deportations came from the upper classes of Jewish society, comprising of royalty, noblemen, captains, skilled craftsmen, men of means, but now they are farmers and nobodies. And you can understand why they want to return home to Jerusalem.
Beside the rivers of Babylon, we sat and wept as we thought of Jerusalem.
They were sad and were weeping.
We put away our harps, hanging them on the branches of poplar trees. For our captors demanded a song from us. Our tormentors insisted on a joyful hymn.
Sing us one of those songs of Jerusalem.
But how can we sing the songs of the Lord while in a pagan land?
They were resentful in that they were forced to sing when they didn't feel like singing.
If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget how to play the harp.
May my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth.
If I fail to remember you, if I don't make Jerusalem my greatest joy.
They were homesick and hoped to return to Jerusalem. Heavy hearts and disturbed minds of the exiles. Why are we in exile? Does God care, or has He forgotten about us? Has the God of Israel been beaten by the gods of Babylon? Would we lose our national and spiritual identity?
Taken from their homes, they can no longer live among the Lord's people and worship as they should.
Is there any hope left for us? The book of Ezekiel was written for dark times that the Israelites were experiencing. Some of us have gone through or are going through some rough patches, and like the exiles, we ask, where is God in all of this? Hopefully, you will find an answer.